In case you were wondering what indie game devs do during a regular week, then you're at the right place because I'm introducing a new episode type called the Indie Game Dev Stand-Up Meeting. So I'm going to be giving you, hopefully every week, an update on what we've been working on and what we are working on next for our indie game called Strange Desert. Let's get into it. Okay, so I thought it would be cool if after these more emotional episodes, I would go more hands-on and I would focus more on the game that we are making. Probably most of you are more interested in that, or I have no idea. But all of you who listen to me, I hope you don't mind that I'm gonna dive more deeply into the practical stuff of game development, and we will be giving you updates. I'm gonna do this on my own, but I hope I can get my partner joining me these stand-up meetings in the future, but I'm just gonna give an update on his behalf. In case you don't know me, I'm Eric. I transitioned from enterprise software to game development, at least for now. Let's see how it pans out. And we have a small indie game studio called Monoblock Studio with my partner, Marci, who is a super talented programmer. And we are working on our first game called Strange Desert. Yes, you may heard me calling this game in a few ways before, but this is its title for now. It's called Strange Desert, which is a 2D side-scroller strategy game. Yes, you heard it right. It's 2D side-scroller strategy game, which is all about settlement building, resource management, and a little bit of tower defense, hopefully, eventually. We'll see. We are quite excited about this game, and we started to work on it about 8 weeks ago. Actually, sorry, 9 weeks ago. Yes, 9 weeks ago. So this is week 9. So this is the stand-up meeting for the 9th week of our game development. So here's what it is. So now you know what the game is about, and obviously we will be refining it, but I think we have a pretty solid idea in terms of what this game wants to be. So let's say that the project is kind of fixed. We know its scope more or less, but you know deep down in your heart, if you have some experience that this is not true, things can change. But I thought before I just jump straight into the stand-up meeting, I will give you a quick history of this project. So the beginning of the year in January, we participated in a game jam. Before that, we were just working on various prototypes with my partner that we really liked, but it was just to get together, get used to each other, and understand what strengths we have, what weaknesses, and whatnot. So it was a lot of learning. So the beginning of the year, we participated in a game jam. We built a game in 2 days. That was pretty encouraging. We got lots of good feedback. We ranked pretty high at the end, so we came out as second overall. And then it made us think that maybe this game could be something more. And actually, that was the major feedback as well, that looking at the art and this small little concept that we built, could be interesting to expand this game. And then we really gave it a shot. First, we gave it a thought, actually. And for 4 months, about 4 months, in a kind of disorganized way, we kept working on the game, figuring out what it could be, how we could expand it. And that time around, I was still working full-time at a company. And then I decided that it's time for a change. But before I change my job, I thought I'm going to give this game dev journey or endeavor a shot. So since mid-July, we are working full-time on this game. Now we are having a structure. The way we organize ourselves really now enables us to start doing these stand-up meetings because we make progress every week. So now actually that makes it also easier to make content about it. So that's pretty much it. We are working on this 2D side-scroller strategy game, which we call Strange Desert. We are really in love with this game and we believe in it strongly. So let's get into the update. So what I've been working on recently is that since this is a 2D strategy game, it means that you will be allocating characters. So you will have some small characters who build stuff, gather resources and refine resources, or maybe even will defend the settlement in certain cases. So I was busy at working for the past 2 weeks actually on figuring out. So I already had an idea and I already had character sketches for these characters, but the art, I mean the layers and the source files were in a terrible state. Layers were all over the place, they were not named properly. So I had to basically consolidate them, slice and dice the characters and make sure that they are ready to be handed off to Marzi, to my partner, to actually start animating them and importing them into Unity. So, guys, that was a lot of work, and I'm quite happy that I managed last Friday finally have this handoff happening and have it done. I'm still gonna make updates to them for sure, but I kind of locked down the character types. Now the character sheets are done. We feel it's ready for animation and to be used in Unity. And I also created like a guide because our characters will have multiple roles, meaning sometimes, a character will be a soldier, sometimes working in a refinery or maybe getting resources. And as you reallocate them from one working area to another, they may switch their outfit and the way they look like. So just to fit, their role that they are working in. So it's quite interesting what we do there. And I'm quite happy with the outcome. For now, I think it looks good. And it was a lot of work. So it was not really about drawing these characters. It was more about now, since I had them ready for a while, I really had to get my source files in order and clean them up and structure them in a way that it's something that could be used in Unity. And actually, that's a lot of work. Honestly, I spent quite a lot of time on it. So it was kind of repetitive and boring, if you like, but I think it was worth it. So the other thing that I was working on is biomes. The game is called Strange Desert, which means when you start playing the game, you are in the desert. But in order to make sure that you reach your goals, you have to expand your settlement and you have to discover new territories left and right. And the biomes will change because it's a strange desert. So nothing's normal. Think of it like Monkey Island. If you ever played Monkey Island, which is a totally different genre, but it's a weird one. You don't really know. Sometimes the rare stuff shows up or things that are so unusual to a certain area or location, right? So it's similar conceptually. It's gonna be a strange desert. So I've been working on different biomes, but still ones that feel consistent with the game, and also something that from a storytelling point of view makes sense. And obviously also there's something that is worth exploring and triggers your curiosity. So it's quite difficult, to be fair, but I'm working on that too. I already have a bigger outline in terms of how all the biomes could look like, but I kind of have a good idea of 3 biomes now. I started to get into the details and really drawing, from a color palette point of view and how the resources will look like there and whatnot. So quite interesting, quite exciting, a lot of work and a lot of creative juice that I need to pour into this work stream because, this is new. Like this is now making new content for the game. I also worked on some enemy types. I try to be as economical as I can because I realized that it's not advisable to go wild with the character types, at least when it comes to animation and when you start to breathe life into them. It's good if, for example, you could reuse some of the animation components like the rigs and whatnot, the bone structure. So basically, I took our worker or player characters as a baseline, and out of them, I tried to create enemies. So meaning that we could reuse some of the already existing code base to make them come to life. I just barely started on it, but I think it's coming together nicely. I always try to allocate some time during the week to idea generation, meaning just like thinking time or reading or just sometimes actually browsing Pinterest and getting inspired a little bit by other things. Idea generation is something I allocate time for because I really want to see beyond the current scope of the game in terms of content. Okay, so what Marzi was working on is a big ass level creator. Probably the most difficult part of the project so far. It's because we want to create a big gaming world that is somewhat surprising if you replay the game. So if you have a new run, we want to make sure there's variety, it doesn't get boring, and it also combines these various biomes. So, and yeah, it's a lot of work to actually do it because we believe this is gonna be the heart of the game. So yeah, he's spending a lot of time. I think he's working on it for minimum 2 weeks now, and probably a few more to follow. And in the meantime, he was also working on helping me with importing, integrating the characters that I was working on into Unity. So that was kind of a detour for him, but I think he doesn't mind. So quite a lot of things are happening right now. We are in full production for sure. We are a little overwhelmed sometimes, and we sometimes feel that we set the bar high and that we don't necessarily have yet all the knowledge to smoothly implement all of these ideas. Because actually, yeah, coming up with the idea is somewhat easier for sure, but making them happen and seeing them manifest as a playable something, it's not as easy as you might think at the beginning. Last but not least, we are planning in-person design sessions. So we will get together to work on the pitch deck for this game, which will help us to articulate what this game is about. Just like this podcast is helping me to articulate what this game is about, we want to actually put it into a pitch deck. So that will be a pretty huge task, and hopefully we can get it done in a day. I really do hope at least that's what's going to happen. And also we want to finally think about the trailer, the first trailer for this game, because that will give us a good idea of what content is missing to make that happen. Because we want to have like a cool trailer that triggers people's curiosity. And once we know what we want to see in that trailer, at least roughly, then we will have our priorities also sorted for the upcoming couple of weeks. I will also look at, actually today I'm going to look at working on richer backgrounds for the game, because we want to make sure those biomes feel rich, dense, and they have some visual interest, something that the players could look at and maybe even explore to spice up the visuals. And yeah, that's pretty much it, right? So I really do hope that I will be able to bring you meaningful updates on these next steps that we outline, and I hope that we will successfully be able to deliver on these plans. I would like to stay in touch, so if you want to follow me, you could follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, and you will find the link in the description of this episode. Thanks very much for listening, and speak to you next time. Bye.